What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Diaper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, then we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 and either build them or fix them depending on how they rank. Now today we are really starting from the bottom as we go ahead and talk about the Berserker Barbarian. This one was awful in 2014, and so hopefully it is fixed, and we're starting off strong on our first subclass in 2024. Before we jump into it, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, also share the video with your friends, and click the bell so you're notified when new videos are uploaded. This subclass was horrible in 2014. This is the lowest ranked subclass I gave in the entirety of 2014 rules. I'll put that up in the icon above if you want something to compare it to. This was horrible. This is the only 1 out of 10 that I gave any subclass, I'm pretty sure. I may have given a monk something pretty close, but yeah, this was a 1 out of 10. Horrible. Horrible. Mainly because it was tied to exhaustion on Frenzy. And then there were a lot of just really stupid mechanics going forward, and it just ruined the entire thing. They have now changed pretty much everything about this subclass. Definitely a good thing, and so hopefully this will actually fix it. Now, one thing I will mention is actually we did do a subclass fix because this was ranked so low, and of course that is in my library of guides. So if you are a member of the channel, you have access to that. If you want to use something under 2014 rules, that is a lot better than the original. You have that available to you, and I will link that video up in the icon above for you to check out. And then, like I said, if you want access to the document on that, make sure to click that join button down below, and you'll get access to all of my write-ups. So yeah, there are a lot of changes, so let's go through them. Again, like I did with last week's different way of doing this, since we're kind of comparing things, I don't think there's a reason to show everything on screen since we're just kind of comparing, and you all know what these do. So yeah, we're going to go through this somewhat quickly, and then, like I said, we're going to be hopefully building with one of these as long as they fixed it going forward. So at level 3, before we got Frenzy, now we also get Frenzy. And so what we do now is instead of getting an extra attack on our turn and then being exhausted afterwards, now we just deal extra damage. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? I would take just free damage, and that's what this is. You get a number of d6s equal to your rage bonus, which I think is such a good idea. I love having that as a scaling factor, and you can use that to do all kinds of things. I used it when I built my custom Barbarian. Of course, I'll put that up in the icon above as well. When I did the volcano-based Barbarian just for 2024 for homebrew stuff. Yeah, I used it for that too, because I think this is a great idea as a scaling method. So really cool. No more exhaustion, nothing like that. I do think that exhaustion now is no longer as taxing as it was in 2014 rules. It has been softened up quite a bit, but still, I still don't want to deal with it at all if I don't have to, especially as my main subclass feature. But yeah, now it's gone. It's just free damage. Fantastic. I gave this a 1 out of 10 before. This is definitely far surpassing that. I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 now. Huge improvement. Absolutely massive improvement. So definitely love that. Mindless Rage is next, and while this is mostly the same, there is one small key difference that does actually make this a little bit better. So with this, when we have the Charmed or Frightened condition, it's going to end, and of course we're immune to it while we are raging. However, while we were raging in the 2014 rules, we simply postponed the effect, and then when we lost our rage, it came back. Now it's just gone. That's how it should have been from the beginning, and so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense as to why it was written that way. I don't know. I didn't write it. I gave this a 6 out of 10 before. This definitely bumps it up to a 7. I think that's much better. Having immunity is fantastic on a Barbarian. Of course, Barbarians are going to be targets of these things a lot of the time because they fail their saves, and so being able to just ignore that is absolutely amazing, so you don't just become a nuke against your friends. So I love that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Really good stuff. At level 10, we now get Retaliation. Now this was the 14th level feature, and we've swapped them, and so Intimidating Presence moves to 14, Retaliation moves to 10, and so this is a little bit different. Again, it's subtle. but it's fine. Basically what it does now, whenever you are going to be hit with an attack and you use your reaction, of course, to make that melee attack, it is no longer just weapon attacks. You can now also do unarmed strike instead if you want to. This is good just because unarmed strikes are obviously far more viable now under the new rules because of how grappling works and how unarmed strikes are just straight up better now. And so there's a lot that have to do with how the core rules of 2024 interact with this that just make it better. And so I'm all for this. It's just an expansion of what you can do. Do I think that it's enough to change my ranking? I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's enough to change my ranking. I already ranked it pretty decently, so I don't think I'm going to change what I ranked it before. So that's fine. Honestly, I think it's okay. But yeah, we'll leave that one where it is. And then finally, intimidating presence. Like I said, this used to be level 10. Now it's level 14. This one changed a lot, actually. So before, of course, this was a frighten effect that was based on our charisma, and they had to make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail it, then we have to use our action to keep extending it every turn. Horrible. Our charisma is not going to be good, and of course we have to use our action to keep it up. That's terrible. No, bad. Hate it. So now we force a wisdom saving throw, and instead of it being based on our charisma, it's now based on our strength. Huge improvement, definitely much better. And so now the maintaining of it is by the target now making saving throws every turn in order to maintain it. So that's that. And now of course it comes back on a long rest instead of it being a once per 24 hours kind of thing, which in some cases is similar, but I would rather have it on a long rest. That way, if I use it in the evening right before, then I long rest, and then now I have it back in the morning. That makes a lot more sense. So that's where that is. So yeah, it's the changes are mostly pretty subtle outside of Frenzy. Frenzy was completely gutted and redone. Needed to happen, right? Mindless Rage, pretty subtle, but definitely an improvement. Retaliation, again, pretty subtle, but definitely an improvement given the way that the rules now work in 2024, so I'm okay with that. And then Intimidating Presence, of course, now bumped back to 14. I would have been fine with it being at 10. Either one of these are honestly fine. I don't think that either one of them are so powerful that I would say this is definitely a 10 and this is definitely a 14th level feature. They're both fine, and I could see either one at 10. So it's not a big deal there. So to me though, we gave it a 1 before. This is no longer a 1. This is definitely no longer a 1. We have definitely stepped things up quite a bit. Frenzy alone has now jumped up by a ton. Mindless Rage got a little bit of a bump. Retaliation, tiny bump, and Intimidating Presence, definitely a big bump. To me, this is something that is probably going to be the largest net change of any subclass, I think, in Dungeons and Dragons. I think that this is going to be the largest net change from the worst to actually very good and very fun and has a lot of really great things about it. I'm taking this from a 1 to an 8 out of 10. I think this is an absolutely fantastic subclass now. It's great. It's awesome. I love it a lot, and it's simple too. It's really not difficult to understand. It's great for any kind of new players. I think this is going to be very easy to pick up and very easy to just plop down, have some fun, and I think it's great. So definitely a worthy addition, and we're definitely off on the right foot. So we're going to build one of these later this week for our first full 2024 build. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun getting to actually start building under these new rules. It's going to be a really good time. So I hope you all are looking forward to that. Thank you all so much for watching. Till next time, stay safe out there. Stay healthy. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.